Hello, my name is Shadley and welcome back for another episode of beginner-friendly Germany in Hoi 3. And in previous episodes we got most of the initial setup done. There's still Navy we haven't really touched, and actually we should probably send this one into Stettin, for example. Because, well, it's not going to be particularly useful over there right now. But yeah, we got most of the troops moving now, we got the planes moving about. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to unpause now. And one thing that I didn't mention in the first episode, because it just felt so obvious to me until I had stopped the recording, I realized, oh yeah, it's probably not something. So I'm using the counters as the unit time. So if you go to game options, you can use counters or you can use sprites. But the counters I find are much more easier to, like, you can get a much more information out of them, rather. Like, you can get the information like what sort of division is there, how many units there are in a province there. For example, we know over here that there's at least one infantry division, there's a headquarters, and then there's another division there. Probably another infantry division. And then over here we can see that there's, well, it's only infantry, there's some mountaineers up here. So it's just a lot easier to see, like, on the sprites you can see some of these things. But you can't necessarily see too easily, like over here we can see that this one's moving northeast, so it's probably going to Arnhem. And over here we can see the arrows pointing every which direction, so it's just a lot more useful information is in there. Right, so we got the tanks and that sort of stuff moving down to Reppen, I believe. So we'll create a core over there for them soon enough. And as soon as we get the troops in here, which is going to be soon enough, I reckon, we can reoccupy Rhineland. There we go. So this is the notification for you have decision that you can take. And yeah, also do that. It gives us a fair bit of unity, a lot of manpower, among other things. It also reduces our what's it called? Neutrality, so we can get a better draft laws or conscription laws. So from 2-year draft, we have reserve penalties, so reserve divisions will have up to half the strength that they could have. And then there's some rotation in there. If we go for 3-year draft, we'll actually get a bit extra manpower per month. Or, well, technically it's divided or added in daily, but like, the numbers are kind of given in a monthly basis. Then officer recruitment is going to be higher, so we definitely want to get that. And once the war starts, we can go for the service by requirement, which increases the manpower even further. More officers, and reserve penalty is also going to go down to 10%, which is pretty decent. Right, then over here, currently since we got the consumer good or consumer product orientation, means that we don't need a lot of IC in consumer goods, because basically it's minus 20 from there. And if we put in this one, we'll have, no, technically it's minus 21 from both of these combined. And then over here, if we go for that, so we'll have an increase of 16% extra industry will need to go into consumer goods. But at the same time, the IC efficiency of production is minus 15% there, so that's actually going to increase the speed that we do production quite a bit. So we do want to put that in. It means that we can do a little bit less production, but the production that we do will be better. So now we need to increase the consumer goods IC over here. And usually I want to have a little bit extra there, so that whenever you get a division built up, then you'll still have the consumer goods not going over. So if you don't meet the need for the consumer goods, you're going to start getting dissent. And the higher the dissent goes, the less IC you actually have. And units will behave worse and all that sort, or perform worse and that sort of stuff. So you want to keep the dissent as low as possible at all times. Sometimes you will get that from events and that sort of stuff. We'll face that as soon as we do Anschluss of Austria, I believe, among other things. But right now, it's fine. I'm actually going to put in some divisions to be built as well. So we'll just take the template for infantry, and we're going to add in anti-tank gun. We'll put in... Actually, we might want to wait with those until we've gotten the upgrades for the infantry research, which is going to be in April. But yeah, we've got the laws changed. We're going to speed up to speed 4. We can go for speed 5, but I'll wait for a little bit. Although I suppose we've got plenty of energy, we've got a little bit of money there. We do have a bit of problem with supplies right now, but that's mostly because we got so many units moving. So actually this might be a perfect time to go through the supply map mode. So all the supplies are sent from your capital, and it's either going to a port which should be shipped over, for example, from Stettin to Königsberg, because we don't have a land connection to there. If there is a land connection, then the supply network will prefer to use the land connection. And depending on the infrastructure of the province, determines how much supplies can be put through there. There's of course the supply throughput tax. I'm going to put in the trade to automate it so I can focus on explaining things here. It's not always optimal, but it will at least try to make sure that you get all the resources that you need. Also, let's put on the message log over here, which is going to be really useful. Actually, speaking of message log, one thing that I do want to put in the message settings is... hold on, is it province? No, combat. I mean, you're looking for the one of our bombing attacks, and I suppose we could type that or have that in the log. Been bombed by hostile forces, and one of our land units attacks. And no, hold on a minute. The division shatter, yes, that's important. This happens fairly rarely, to be fair, but it can happen. It happens a lot more in Black Ice, for example. So shattering happens when the strength of a division drops below certain limits. It's like 1/3 or something like that. Sometimes it can shatter a bit further or sooner than that, especially in Black Ice. But like if it runs basically strength before organization, then it's gonna shatter, and then it's gonna reappear at 0 strength in the capital or wherever the headquarters or the main headquarters that it's under is in. But if it runs out of organization, then it can effectively die, especially if it's in a pocket. But yeah, I'm trying to look for the... one of our provinces gets bombed. I'm sure that it is somewhere here. No, battle is over. Air battle is over. And battle is over. Unit attacked by enemy. Attacks an enemy. We're bombed by hostile forces. That is certainly something that we want to have. Maybe that is the one that we need. I suppose bombing by hostile forces ends is also quite nice to see there in the log. I suppose actually we don't need that one, it's just there when the bombing ends, I think. And we'll quickly check, is it in the other... hold on a minute, there's of course the hostile spy detected is something that we want to list there. And one of our spies gets detected, we want to list on the log. Well, I want to, your mileage might vary. Is there anything else in here? Change our form of government. Oh, in diplomacy, is there... A lot of things are in here. I'm just looking for if declarations of war are listed in here. I believe they are. When we declare war on another nation, nation declares war. Okay, so it is listed there. Good. Right, well, let's keep on going then. We got plenty of troops here. We can take these and form into a new corps. And it assigns all of those under it. And we're going to name these first Panzer Corps. And we'll have the tanks actually go a little bit further north. And we'll actually put in these troops around here. We'll go back to this map mode. Our 2 divisions go into Danzig, and we'll have 2 divisions on Neustädtin. Okay, there's a lot of spies being spotted. Good to know, I suppose. We have a little bit extra in upgrades now. We're going to need a bit more in reinforcement, so I'm going to upgrade that to 5 IC, so that we'll do the reinforcing a little bit faster. Then over here we'll start putting... Oh, no, I didn't want the headquarters to move there. I wanted the divisions to move in. So what I'll do is I'll set up a new army over here. It's just going to be called First Army. I'll assign that under the Harris Group A. And then this is going to be assigned to the First Army as well. And I suppose this could be under the First Army as well. And then we can put in the tanks over here. Along this front. We'll get some infantry over here as well, but it's only 36 right now, so we got plenty of time. And we're gonna have to get some more troops into East Prussia before we declare the war, but again, we got plenty of time. Over here, I'm gonna start getting some troops on the Belgian border. And then this is gonna get some more troops on the Dutch border. And then we got pretty much all of our troops set. I mean, there's still the planes that we need to reorganize a little bit. Put in the interceptor in there. And then combine these two. So we've got 4 tackle bombers there. We've got 4 tackle bombers in here. There we go. And then we've got 3 fighters. So we're going to get the 4th one over there built up. Although once we get Austria, that's going to give us another plane as well. But, you know, we can build another 3 after that. So the production has dropped a fair bit. Once the upgrades are done, that's going to release a lot of ICE for us again. And when are we getting the first set of bases? That's going to be in March. And each one of these is going to be about 0.1 on the construction practical. Of course, it will decay over time. So you need to kind of invest on something to keep the knowledge in there kind of deal. And we'll move the interceptors over to Stuttgart, I think. Luckily they move quite fast. But yeah, now I think we got most of this thing set up where there's still the ships and that sort of stuff, but we don't need to worry about those right now. So I'm just going to go speed 5, which means that we're going to go max speed. We're going to go through a lot of time here. That's probably fine. Now we've got a pretty darn good officer ratio, which means that in combat... Oh, we got our ships completed. Crossspear, we'll put that into the Kriegsmarine. So the officer ratio means that we'll have like 40% extra combat ability, or like the extra effectiveness in combat, which is really useful. If you drop below 100, then you're going to start getting a penalty in there, which is something that you want to avoid. Now in mods like Black Ice, the limit is 110%. Of course, there's a lot more units or brigades that need officers, so you'll actually have demand for a lot more officers anyway. But yeah, we've got some more upgrades over here that can be put back to production. So that's going to allow us to get the fighter a little bit sooner. So at the end of March, we're going to get the destroyer and the submarines completed. We got a little bit more... Oh, actually, reinforcements are now starting to be completed. That's going to be probably fine enough. That's the limit that we drop that in. As you can see, it's going a little bit up and down from time to time. But things are looking alright right now. We've got 1,000 manpower house. Ooh, and a lot more upgrades available. Okay, so I think we need to wait a little bit more until we start building the infantry. So what I might do is I might just get a motorized division. We'll actually add in an extra motorized there, save the templates, and then we'll put in like motorized AA there or something like that. It's going to be fairly useful. Not maybe the most useful, but it will, like, I know that there's going to be a lot of planes on the enemy side. We want to be able to get a lot of them kind of sorted. There we go, air bases, the first row of air bases completed. Also got the destroyer, we'll put that into the battle fleet there. We'll need to reorganize the fleet quite a bit later on, but right now it's just not really that much of a priority. Before the war, I will try to do that. And Italy enforced puppet on Ethiopia. So Italy actually won the war. I mean, they always do, quite frankly. And the civil war in Spain hasn't started yet. Sometimes it does start really early. Okay, so we've got the AA brigades here. I think we're going to put one over there, the Sarah Lewis. Now, there's actually two ways of doing this. Where you can go through here and assign it to the division. Or you can just place it over there and combine it. Either one works. I mean, just placing it in there is slightly faster, but it's a bit more clicks. There we go. So now we've got... Oh, we've got a little bit more there. Okay, the ship's underway. So we could get a tank destroyer. Now we might actually want to build that. If you build stuff as a reserve, that means that it takes a bit less manpower and IC to build them. But then once you mobilize your troops, you'll need to reinforce them before they are full strength. I suppose we could build that as a reserve. We'll put that into the SS division down here, which gives them a bit more capability against enemy tanks. Speaking of tanks, we've got anti-tank gun over here. We'll put one over there and one over there. Just combine these. And then we are now ahead of time in small arms and infantry support weapons. But that's fine. We're also going to get those other two tomorrow. There we go. And we're going to now actually get the... First things first, let's cancel that. We're going to put in the Marines to be researched. Now, since we got quite a long research queue already, I'm going to put that in there. Also, mountain warfare and Arctic warfare equipment. I'll put those into the queue. And then also in the armor, we got the anti-tank barrel and sights and anti-aircraft barrel and ammunition completed. And there's going to be a lot more soon. There we go, more artillery. Put one there. And one there. Okay, but now we need to, since we've gotten a bit more troops, we need to increase the amount of consumer goods that we have. Because we're not at war. But that's hardly a problem. That's an inconvenience, but not a problem. Okay, so we can get these off the research queue now. So we've done a lot of our research already. We're going to get some upgrades on the light ships. We're not going to focus too heavily on the big ships. It's just because our practicals on building those bigger ships are rather bad. Cruisers is alright. And destroyers is alright. Submarines is alright. But the capital ships, not particularly good. And carriers, we have no practical knowledge of whatsoever. We've got a lot of spies right now. So what we're going to start doing is we're going to start reducing the French national unity. Because they start with fairly low national unity anyway. And actually, while the information in the intelligence screen does give you a bit of an idea, if you want to get the accurate description of how much a nation has unity, you go to diplomacy screen, select them, and then hover over this bar here, so in progress. So it tells you 36.3% is the national unity of France. So if you have that much of their victory points conquered, then they will surrender. And that is why having high unity is really important. A lot of spies are getting discovered, I guess is the word. Also, I'm gonna get another army down here. And then we've got some armored cars over here. So what I will do is a division in Neustetten, for example that one. And a division down here. Hernstad. I know that I'm probably butchering all these names, quite frankly, but I mean, someone's got to say them. Right, so we've still got plenty of air bases underway. We've got a practical 5.7 now, so that's not too bad. And yeah, we got those. I believe there was something that I was looking at, but then I got distracted. Wouldn't be the first time. Oh, right, the spies. So France, we're disrupting the national unity. Soviet Union. Let's support our party in USA, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for majors. I'm going to put in some spies in Japan and Italy as well. And then go back to all. But if we can lower the French unity a lot, then it's going to make our life a lot easier. Because a light tank gun we can now cancel. So there's 4 techs for each light tank tier. It goes from light, medium, heavy, and super heavy. And like, if you want to just increase one aspect of the unit, then you can. But usually you want to get all of them. Put an engineer there. And then put an engineer on the side over here. And now we are ahead of time in which one? I'm guessing light cruiser armament? Yes. Okay. And then we'll need to increase the consumer goods account. I'm going to go for 49.5, I think. That's going to keep us at least there for a little while. Now, I could increase the upgrades again, but at the same time, we don't really need to. But now, we definitely want to put in some infantry in there to be produced, now that we got the upgrades research. So, we're going to start with the anti-tank guns. Also, we'll build 3 of each type, basically. So, that's going to give us 15 divisions. Also, 3 corps. So, all things considered, not too bad. So, we've got the anti-tank guns, engineers, artillery, anti-air, and then we'll put in the armored cars in there. So that gives like a decent composition for each corps, basically. Of course, some of those are going to go directly into the existing corps first, so not necessarily quite that good combination, but it'll do. Right, so that's ahead of time, and these 2 are ahead of time. And that's all of them. Okay, now we still got some time to get some more research in. So what I suppose I could do is I could get the militia support weapons. And there, at least that increases the garrison's capabilities a little bit, which we are going to have to build at some point. Once we start occupying places like Poland and France, so you'll want to have some garrisons in there, especially in cities and that sort of stuff, with some military police, so that will keep the rebels in check for the most part, at least in their surroundings. There we go, we got ourselves the fighter that we were waiting for. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build another 3. So that once we do the Anschluss of Austria, which, let's have a look at the situation. We got 10 spies there, so we are probably supporting the Nazi party a lot right now. Transfer with Popular Front, militia, and oh right, we got the light tank research completed. We can put in the medium tank and put that directly to the top of the research queue, so we can get that before the end of the year, so that we can then start on these next year, and then we can maybe get the. Actually, it's going to take some time before we get the heavy tank brigade, but that's fine. So if we have a look at the brigade right now, so light tanks would be 102 Fs, and then armored car looks. Tank destroyer is Panzerjäger 1. Tank gun is 7.5 centimeter pack 40. And that's pretty much it. Like, most of these just have very generic names. But some of these weapons at least have something useful. And once we get the medium tank, that's probably going to be like P3s. Or something like that. So now that we put in a lot of divisions in production, that reduce our manpower quite drastically. Like over 150, I think. But like, yeah, we'll be getting 9 per month, right? Oh, there we go, Spanish Civil War. We'll do the intervention there. It doesn't actually take anything from us in this version, or in vanilla, but in modded you will actually lose some troops there. Right, so we had the army here, let's move that to Frankfurt. I'll assign this under the second army. Got a transport, so we'll put that into Stettin, so that we can transport some troops over, and then this one's going to go under the second army. Wait, what? Oh, I went under the first army, sorry. So I'll click the second army, and then this one under the army as well. And I suppose we could move this over there as well. So we've got a total of 5 corps under this army. So if we want to assign more over here under the OB West, we can either assign, like, theaters can have unlimited amount of divisions under them. But like, we'll probably want to get a second army at some point. And also, more anti-air comes here. So we've got A over there already. We'll put A on Wilhelmshaven actually. It's going to be quite useful. And then another one over here somewhere. For example, that one. We've got another transport. How is our transport practical right now? It's 3.1, so not very high. But it's at least something. So the first set of factories we're going to get in November. There's only 4 of them. So you can build the factories from here directly. And factories are easy because you can actually just place them anywhere in vanilla. Well, assuming that there's not 10 factories already in there. But the air bases that you can build through there need to be placed in a place... or province that doesn't have an airbase yet. Right, so anti-tank gun, I suppose we'll place one there. We'll place another one down here somewhere. Maybe for that one. Right, then we got some artillery about to be completed. Got another transport completed. Good. Oh, we lost trade with the Soviets. We were selling a lot of supplies. We actually have a lot of supplies right now. We got some more artillery completed, so let's put these in here. One for that one. And then one for that one. Now, you can assign leaders, and especially leaders like Guderian, which starts on controlling a infantry division. At some point you want to promote them, because they have a massive skill level, and the higher skill level on the commanding officer, the better bonuses you get into the combat, well, certain degree, and you'll be more likely to pick a tactic that will counter the enemy's tactic. So their bonuses from their tactic will be negated, and you will do all your bonuses in that from the tactic. But actually, we are now out of time, so we got at least in August right now, and we got some troops building up and all that sort of stuff. So all things considered, we're approaching the war slowly but surely. But if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also got the links down below in the description. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.